يرجى الترحيب على خشبة المسرح بأولئك الذين نجحوا في تحدي الأعراف وواصلوا السعي وراء شغفهم ليخبرونا المزيد عن كيفية فعل ذلك. الممثل والمغني راشد النعيمي، والشيف الإماراتية الأولى والوحيدة في المنطقة سحر العوضي، والشاعرة والدكتورة عفرة عتيج اللي بتدور المحادثة اليوم مع الزملاء.
Please welcome on stage those who have successfully defied the norms and pursued their passions to tell us more about how they did it, and the renowned actor and singer Rashed Al-Naimi, and the first and only female Emirati pastry chef in the region, Sahar Al-Awadhi, and our homegrown poet and scholar, and of course, the panelist for today, Dr. Afra Atiq.
I'm excited about this one, you guys, so a round of applause for them.
Testing? Are we on?
Testing.
We are not. No, we can hear me. Can you? Yes? Okay, amazing. Thank you so much, everybody that's here. I'm so excited to be sharing this stage with Sahar and Rashed. We'll get to why I admire their craft so much. But just thank you all for being here and lending us your time and your energy. It means a lot, especially, you know, that we're kind of in not your regular fields. So we're very excited to be here. I know that they just introduced Rashed and Sahar, but I would like to do my own introduction because I think it's so special. It's amazing to always be with like friends and colleagues, but especially when those friends and colleagues do amazing things. Rashed, I mean, I don't think he needs an introduction, but Rashed and I go way back. And I was so captivated by not only his talent, but his commitment to growth and his commitment to his craft. So he sings, he acts, he cooks, what else do you do? You do everything. He cooks.
Oh, that's something that we can bond over now.
And Sahar is not only a pastry chef, but I have to say this, Sahar makes a za'atar fried chicken that sometimes I still think about. I had it 3 years ago and I still think about it. But Sahar is extraordinary, not only in the fact of what she does, but she does it so gracefully and so humbly, and just it's amazing, and it's such a privilege to watch what she does. Good introduction?
Oh,
amazing.
Amazing.
Couldn't talk about myself
So
better.
we're actually having a conversation about trailblazing, and I know that we talk about this a lot. And so one of the things that I know from my journey as a poet and as an artist is that sometimes it's difficult to separate who you are from what you do. So there's an exercise that I'm going to ask you to do. Not physical, don't worry. But it's to introduce yourself in one sentence outside of what you do. So not, I'm Sahar, I'm a chef, I'm Rashed, I'm a singer, but I'm Afra and I'm fluent in sarcasm. Or I am really. Or I have a big heart. Or just let us know something about you that's outside of what you do. No pressure.
That's such a tough question to ask.
I am Rashed, and I am honestly trying to figure it out day by day.
Honestly, me too.
I feel like you guys do have it figured out, though, Huh? You're testing my sarcasm skills. Okay, amazing. We can get to that. But one of the things I wanted to start off with, one of the questions is, tell us about your path. Tell us about how you got to where you are. The good, the bad, the ugly, all of it.
Mostly what I do now is in the realm of singing and acting. I, for some reason, blocked it out of my memory that I did a play when I was around 7 years old, only to find footage of it later down the line. When I first got into acting seriously at the age of 25, I did not think that I would find footage of me as a child doing it, because I thought this was a new discovery, only to realize that I've been doing this ever since I was a kid. But for some reason, I blocked it out, completely disassociated from the fact that this has been a journey that I've started my entire life. so much has happened. From like applying to the master's degree in musical theater and like thinking about that lifestyle as an Emirati, and venturing into music and mixing pop, English music with Arabic mashups, and that realm was very new, kind of. I didn't see a representation of that, so every day was a challenge of discovering where the boundaries were, where what the next steps looked like, what support system exists, and kind of limitless in terms of challenges and opportunities at the same time.
I love that you mentioned culture, because Sahar, I wanted to ask. I know that obviously you cook from the heart, and it's very, very obvious in what you do, and it's one of the things that
Sorry, I can't hear you.
Oh. I was saying, I know that you cook from the heart, and a lot of the recipes that you come up with and a lot of the things that you do are inspired by your life and your culture and the people around you. And so tell us a little bit more about that.
So when I started off in the kitchen, I was very adamant to make sure that I learned the foundations. And there were a lot of people telling me, cook Emirati food or incorporate Emirati ingredients. But I was so specific about not doing that in the beginning because I wanted to make sure that I learned everything about the foundations. And it's kind of like that saying, know the rules and then you'll know how to manipulate them. And so that's what my thought process was. I wanted to understand the ingredients. I wanted to understand the thought process behind some of the most traditional pastries or dishes. And I wanted to be able to manipulate it while I grow my philosophy or I grow my voice as a pastry chef. And that's where that comes in right now. My pastries, I'll say there are instances where they're just pastries and they're, I hope, delicious. But for the most part, what I try to do is it's never just a pastry. It's always an experience. I want you to feel a part of me in the pastries. I want it to have a soul. I want it to be reminiscent and culturally connected to the UAE, to Dubai, to Sharjah, to wherever. It has to have a little bit of me, and it has to be, to me at least, nostalgic. So that's...
I think the best desserts are always nostalgic. They always give you
Yes.
that childhood feeling. Rashed, I know that we talk about this a lot when we get together, but I always say when you perform, you leave a little piece of yourself on the stage. So tell us how that is for you, because I know that's what you do too.
It took me a while to discover or to label that I really do find my comfort on the stage. And the reason why it took me a while, because I always associated with the concept of it's either attention seeking or ego building or spotlight loving. And then I thought about like a chef's place, his comfort is in the kitchen.
Right.
And I think as a performer, mine is the stage, and it's separated from the concept of the kind of what people associate with like the seek for fame.
It's like an alter ego. When you get up on
100%.
stage, it's like you're kind of a different person.
The person that you allow yourself to
Right,
be,
right.
and you kind of take away the boundaries that you would have on your day-to-day life.
Yeah.
So it's what I would leave on the stage is the part of me that gets to be free.
Yeah.
I think that's amazing. I think you need to put that into a song. I'll write the song and you sing
Let's
it. Yeah?
do that right after this.
And then and then Sahar can make the pastries, and we can like have a little story.
Definitely.
Yes, trio, love it.
Sahar, one of the things that I really love and admire about you, one of the many things, is that you are pursuing a path that's not a path that many people have traveled, and I think that's such an inspirational thing to be able to witness. So, what would you say was the toughest thing for you to learn about yourself on that journey?
One of the toughest things that I learned, oh my God.
You're like, these are test questions.
Yeah. One of the toughest things to go through is learning that people can be unforgiving, or you could be unforgiving to yourself when you're so invested in a dream or a passion that you love. And just to be a little bit easy on yourself goes a long way. But also, you have to believe in yourself. You really do. Like when I started off cooking, and I was exhausted and I was miserable, but I loved what I was doing, I made the conscious decision not to tell anybody what I was going through. I've said this before, because I didn't want anybody to tell me to stop doing what I was doing. I was like, I can get through this. This is temporary. And push through it, and I'm gonna get to my goal. And that's always important to have that in sight.
Is there a dish that you've made or a pastry that you're like particularly proud of, that when you think about it, you think that's the one, that's when I knew?
One of the pastries that's very dear to me is the Ali 2.0.
I've had that.
Have you had that? So that's one that's really special to me, because every time I explain it to somebody, they're like, but Ali's hot. I'm like, but it's 2021. And it took a lot of research and development to sort of get the balance in the flavors, to kind of get the essence. And that's one of the things that I really try to do, is to keep the integrity and the essence of the original dish or the original thought in the new modern way, so that you can feel that when you eat it.
I think one of the things that really gets missed is how much goes into it, how much research goes into what you guys do, how much thought and effort goes into it, because a lot of the times you see the end product and you say, oh, this is a beautiful dessert, or that's an amazing song. But it's really all of the auditions that you've had to go through to get there, all of the things, all of the research, and I think it's a really big component that we don't talk about enough. But Rashed, I wanted to ask you, so I know that you recently found footage of yourself, 7-year-old self in a play. You knew this question was coming. But do you think that 7-year-old Rashed would look at current Rashed and be like, I knew it, and this is amazing?
7-year-old Rashed, yes, would have. The trick for me was 16-year-old Rashed would have said no. 18-year-old Rashed would have said no, because 7-year-old Rashed was going on with the innocence of opportunity. 16 and teenage-year-old me was struggling with the outside commentary about what should and should not happen with my life. And it was the slow process of exactly going back to Ali being a hot dessert. What I replied to that is saying, who says?
Yeah.
And that's what I've been applying to every thought that comes into my mind. Oh, you can't do this. You can't appear this way, singing that way, culturally, societally, philosophically, politically. You can't. The first thing I would respond to my own self is, where do I get that thought from? And how can I adjust my relationship to it? So 7-year-old me only dreams bigger than what I'm doing right now. And I'm trying to continuously keep going back to that childhood innocence. It's like a daily activity that I try to bring myself into.
It's definitely a conscious effort that you have to put in. What I wanted to ask both of you actually is, we talk a lot about ecosystem, we talk a lot about things being in place and kind of the industry and the situation that we're in. Is there anything in particular that you feel like is missing from the ecosystem that you're in?
I'm very happy to see how much has changed. When I was venturing into that realm, I couldn't find that community, that space where I can nurture the musical talent and the acting talent. I applied for a school all the way across the world. I applied for Berklee College of Music in the States, and I got into the Boston Conservatory, only to have Berklee College of Music open up in Abu Dhabi. And to be like, well, there we go, that's exactly what we've been asking for, and that's where the change happens, and that's where the structures are taking place. So it's going to be much easier for who's up and coming to get into it now. So it's such an exciting time. I am like, I remember all the obstacles I had to go through, and to think that a lot of them will not be necessary anymore for a lot of the people going into it now.
I totally agree, by the way, because I was in the same situation where like culinary schools didn't exist here. And obviously, it was such a foreign concept to everybody that it was difficult to wrap your head around. Now we have so many options, and there's absolutely no reason to say, I might be the first. I definitely hope and I know that I won't be the last because I see so much growth in the community. And we all kind of have to help each other to make sure that, we're supporting each other.
I mean, we're doing this, just
Yeah.
being on the stage talking
Yeah.
about
Which
this.
is amazing. It is. So we have time for one more question, and I want to make it a good one. So I'm going to say that we are in a room full of trailblazers and people who are on different paths and people who are doing extraordinary things. What do you want to leave them with? What thought do you want them to leave here with? I will be grading you, so.
The thing that really crosses my mind, being labeled a trailblazer is awkward and
Yeah.
weird because you don't.
Because you're just doing what you love to do, right?
Basically. So, and then when I see someone doing that, I get to put myself in their shoe as opposed to labeling them as a trailblazer. So I get to see them as a human. And what I would say is like, I see you. I see that there is more than what you do on stage. I see the crying sessions at night. I see the moment of openness with friendships and the hard conversations and the choices and the conflicts of being selfish versus being open and being true to yourself. And those are all like constant day-to-day, moment-to-moment questions that all fellow trailblazers, I see that in you, yeah.
Those little moments, those are really important. So what I would say is don't take shortcuts. Don't try to get to your goal in like record time and like, I'm gonna be world president in 2 days. There's a,
Can you do that?
You know-
Like, is that a thing?
sorry?
In
Can you do
today's
that? Is
world,
that a thing?
anything's possible.
It could happen. I mean, if you can do it, do it. But go through the motions, go through the journey, go through the learning aspects, go through the hard parts, go through the good parts, go through everything. Experience everything right now with that goal in sight, with that vision in sight. But don't try to rush anything. Do it well, do it perfectly, because you deserve that.
That's such an amazing sentiment to close the session with. I'm so glad that I had the chance to sit down
Wait,
with.
question goes back to you as
To me?
a fellow trailblazer.
I am a moderator. I wasn't asked to ask your question.
Who is the biggest, most amazing
Who said
slam poet
Afra?
in our region currently? Who is? Please, we would love that question directed to you. I am the moderator at this
Okay,
moment.
what I would leave them with? I think I would leave them with, I would ask them to remember the value of their voice, because even when other people don't value it, you value it yourself, and it's your voice that's going to carry you, and it is the most powerful thing that you have, and it is the most powerful thing that all of us have. And just imagine how amazing the world would be if everybody understood the value of their voice. And like, there are going to be people that are going to tell you no, and people that are going to say, well, this is not a suitable career, go back to the office, go back and do whatever, this isn't a thing. But we're making it a thing, and it's incredible. And I feel like all of us have fought so many battles to get to this, and if I can make it just a tiny bit easier for the next person, then I've done my job. So I would say that everybody should find their voice and understand the value of their voice.
We exist, therefore we are, and we don't need any more justification for that. That's
There's actually, before we close, there's a beautiful concept called Ubuntu, which is basically, it means I am because we are. And I think I am because we are, and you are because we are, right? So we're all connected in that way. And I think that's such a beautiful note to end this on. So thank you so much, Rashed. Thank you. Thank you
you.
so much, Sahar. Thank you to the audience. Thank you to the festival. Thank you to everybody at SEF. Thank you to Amal and the MCs and everybody that put this together. And we're around for a little bit after the panel, so if you want to say hello or meet Sahar and Rashed, they're going to be around. So thank you so much for your time and your energy and your kindness.
Thank you.
Thank you.